when the case all started happening, like, hey, yo, if you could leave the country now, it would be a good look for you to just basically leave the country, you know what I mean?
Shit.
So
you hightailed it out of there?
I hightailed it out of the United States and San Francisco and basically left my whole life behind.
Welcome to Cash Only, a show about the second economy. Here we explore underground and extra-legal markets, fringe business, and the bleeding edge of drugs, weed, sex, crime, and culture.
Cash Only. Cash Only.
My name is Zach. I've spent years reporting on the cannabis landscape, both the legal and extra-legal markets. This is my homie Jordan, a filmmaker who's created all sorts of shows and content about cannabis. Welcome to
Cash Only.
Be sure to subscribe to Bullish and like the video.
What's your favorite strain you would bring back that you don't see no more?
Champelli.
Champelli. I've heard that from a lot of people.
Champelli.
Yeah, we got Pelli. Oh, what? It's on me?
Welcome to episode 2 of Cash Only. We have a very special guest today. Champelli, the legend, is in the house.
That was a real first strand of like to blow up the Bay Area. That was like our first kush. Yeah, that was that Champelli. So I wish that Pelli come back. That shit was crazy.
Late 90s, one of my best friends from high school, Joe Pelli, created a type of cannabis that became one of the most elusive and sought-out strains here in the Bay Area. It was revered by cannabis connoisseurs, rappers, and pretty much the entire West Coast underground rap scene.
Known for the really kick back as we blaze up the belly. Lay in the cut, in the telly, somewhere lay in the smut. Champelli, purple, haying it up. I need some Mary Jane, some Champelli, man, a smelly thing. Joe Pelli is my relly, man.
Snoop loved Champelli, Mac Dre loved Champelli. He invented the model for how you could have the beginnings of a cannabis brand in the illegal market. His life is a movie. It's every stoner's dream. He got to be places that were incredible. He got to collaborate with people that were incredible. And he's such a humble dude for what he's been through. I met him about 2 years ago through a friend, and I created a short film about him that we're gonna show throughout this episode. Selfishly, I've been working with him because I really want the strain to come back. I think it's a great idea, I think it's a great story, and I think guys like Champelli deserve to win in the legal market.
True, and it remains to be seen if the original Champelli will be brought back to market and if his namesake brand will go legit. So we're gonna talk to him about that. Welcome, Champelli. What up, man?
Man, what's up, you guys? How you guys doing there, man? Thank you guys. It's an honor to be on the second episode here of this
Champellegrino.
That's what's up, man. I'm over here on that Modiano right now. You already know. There it is.
Got the Juanitas going. When did you first encounter Champelli?
That goes back to a few different friends, honestly, that introduced me to that particular kind of pheno in that sort of dimension of what it was, what the Champelli was, you know, before I kind of got a hold of it. And I basically essentially just shepherded and curated the strain in a sense, you know what I mean? Like I got it and pretty much just crossed it back on itself. So I had the seeds. I learned that much. And instead of losing it, I knew, you know, good enough to, once I found a couple seeds, I started it. I did a little breeding program and made more seeds so I could preserve it. You know what I mean?
What was it like? Can you describe it to me?
Man, you know, and it's always a tough thing. These are like flavors that are kind of gone in a sense, you know,
Sure.
So it's like kind of like
Cat piss, because it had that real like sour diesel type of stank to it, but it had that kush power.
Yeah, nice little, like a little fruity flavor, but it had boom,
that power.
yeah.
It's like describing umami to someone who's never tried it.
People were like, you know, in a sense, it's kind of like full body is what I'd say. Like it's like a satisfying smoke. Like it's not hot. It was super sad, and that had a lot to do the way it was grown, but it was like satisfying and full body and just kept getting you high. Like you could just like keep getting higher and satisfied. Like some weed, you could smoke it for a day or two and you're just like, oh, well, I'm over that weed. You know what I mean? Like OG Kush or the Champ, like that shit we would just smoke back to back and we could just keep smoking that and be happy. It didn't even matter what else was around, you know, we'd be stoked smoking that stuff. And it was pretty much just, you know, trapping it out back then, trying to make some bread, but just unknowingly just growing all types of different strains that later on I never saw the likes of anymore. Like,
a lot of these young puppies, man, they talk about, y'all remember Nay? Y'all remember Champagne? They act like they privy to it, right? I know they wasn't there, big baby. You feel me? Because you had to go to the projects to get made, Brody. You feel me? And a lot of these dudes, man, you understand me? They wasn't allowed, man.
Coming from the 80s into the 90s, I watched more and more stuff just kind of disappear and dissipate. I mean, like crazy
Holy
stuff.
grail shit.
Like, so, because you know what it is like stuff is just diluted and basically like monocrop now in a way.
A clone of a clone of a clone.
Yeah, that, and it's all the same shit, and the gene pool is just like kind of the same. Everybody's mixing the same thing on the same thing. But back then, like, man, it was like stuff that stood alone as a land-raised strain that was just like amazing, you know.
Hey, look, I got my motherfucking issue. You know, even though I smoke some of the original shit.
The original.
Yeah, some of y'all wouldn't know nothing about that. You kids wouldn't know nothing about that Champelli. Yeah.
So far.
He's back. You can't get this. You know what I'm saying? You gotta know Champelli, and you don't know Champelli. So stop playing. Your shit is cat.
So far. Your cookie store over here. Grand opening.
Where does the name Champelli come from? I know how you got the name, but the actual strain.
Yeah, so it originally came to me as the Butler, you know what I mean? And then it kind of evolved into the Champagne. And then I was like I always had it, right? I always had the Champagne. And basically from there, like people started calling me. One dude, my boy, rest in peace, FMB, he started calling me Champelli.
How'd you meet Mac Dre?
I met Mac Dre through Mac Mall, and I ended up bringing Mac Dre to the studio. And when he first got out of jail, you know, he pulled up in an Impala. This was like in '96. Pulled up in an Impala, you know what I mean? We did a song with them. I blessed them with some Champelli, and from there it was just on. We were homies.
She only sees me with Champelli trees. Smoke champ, kush, and nay. Man was lame. I'm out the roof of an old school, trying to campaign, smoking champagne, doing a damn thing.
How much do you think he was smoking in the booth when he was recording, like, you know, the best shit?
We really would go through, like, in a session, it's like I'd bring an ounce to the studio and we'd smoke an ounce, no problem, basically.
Love it.
And yeah, it was like, you know, everybody's just rolling joints, and it'd be easy ounce probably, you know.
What happened with you and Lil Kim? Because I've seen a archival video clip.
Champelli, Larry, Little Kim.
Yeah, well, we're in the music studio together right there. We went to my good friend DJ Franzen he's like an original DJ from San Francisco, KMEL. As a DJ, he basically had an in to like everything, and we always hit it off because we both smoked super big and had gone to high school together, and we've always been like super good friends. He invited me to go to New York to Puff Daddy's Christmas party. So we went to, like, I have to mention, was like...
That sentence.
617, Puffy's Christmas party in the midst of bosses.
To cap it off right quick with the super capper.
The Laird.
Super Laird.
Cut this note.
And we ended up getting invited to a Little Kim session.
Did you just hear Snoop? Hold on, did you just hear Snoop? He said he had to pop his rhymes.
The Neptunes had produced the track, and that was the first time they got on a song together there.
Sticking and grooving, that's what we do. With Snoop Dogg. How many hot licks does it take, mommy? How many hot licks does it take? Laughing, keep over there.
A lot of fun.
Snoop must have hit the Champelli, right?
Snoop was, yeah, he was smoking the whole night. We just kept rolling him up, and passing.
Snoop
you know,
was freestyling about the Champelli.
Yeah, he was freestyling about the Champelli.
Yeah, I was at the telly. Then he came through this motherfucker with a bag of Champelli. He put it in the A, said, doggy, would you tell me? I got a bad bitch with an earring in her belly.
It was real organic for sure.
The heart of the shit as it's happening.
Yeah, right.
The strain disappeared when Pelli had to disappear and leave the country due to some legal issues tied to the war on weed. After a decade on the run, he thought the case was dead, but he returned to the U.S. a little too early and had to serve time.
You had to kind of go on the run for a little bit. Can you tell, like, what can you tell us about that experience or what happened? And
I kind of got tied in through music and through cannabis in a way to some people that had, you know, had stuff going on that, you know, ended up affecting me legally. You know, they ended up having a RICO case because of what they had going on in their circle. You know what I mean? And I just happened to be kind of like guilty by association. You know what I mean? I was always like the chill, hippie, weed smoking sort of San Francisco dude, you know, doing music, this and that. And it just kind of carried over. And basically, you know, I ended up kind of getting the word when the case all started happening, like, hey, yo, if you could leave the country now, it would be a good look for you to just basically leave the country. You know what I mean?
Shit.
So
you hightailed it out of there?
I hightailed it out of the United States and San Francisco and basically left my whole life behind. I just built a big major recording studio. I had like a whole roster of 5 or 6 artists that I was getting ready to release.
How much time was there between when you kind of got word and when you were like tails up on the plane?
I mean, shit, man. I mean, you know, it was like literally like a month at the most, basically. You know what I mean? I had to try to like close out all the stuff I was doing.
How long were you on the lam, so to speak, outside of the U.S.?
It was, you know, 8 years, damn near, almost 9 years. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know.
Bopping around Europe?
Yeah, I was in Europe. Yeah, I was in Europe for like 5 years and then went to Mexico, actually. I came back, wrongly assumed that maybe the statute of limitations had maybe passed, or I didn't really honestly know what was going on. I was just told to leave, and I'd hired a lawyer when I was gone to try to look into see what my charges even were or what it was. And it's like my lawyer, they couldn't even figure out or find out exactly what was going on with me. Like, you know, they wouldn't really divulge what the deal was. And want to come later to find out when I got back, when I flew into LAX, that's when I got swooped up, and it was like for my a federal warrant for my arrest. Yeah, the charges ended up being conspiracy to distribute, you know, cannabis.
Did you save some seeds?
Yeah, I was able to keep some seeds stashed away. You know what I mean? I still have those seeds today.
Cool.
And I had a couple friends that saved some seeds as well. So I managed to have that little collection of seeds, you know. So I still have those, and I've really been just kind of waiting for the right situation in order to really crack those off.
What you say about Pelli? You in Hawaii or something one time? I was all over the place. What kind of haircut?
He got, hey, this boy Champelli got a good boy haircut. Champelli got a good boy haircut. Pelli got a good boy haircut. Pelli got a good boy haircut.
Now that a new legal era is upon us with the weed game, the time is right to try and resurrect Champelli. His fate rests in the remaining 20 seeds saved by its creator before he fled. Will Champelli return? Pray for Champelli.
This famous, historic, legendary underground seed, so to speak, how do you bring that back?
It's like part of me is educating people to not be fixated solely on one thing. You know, at the same time, I'm doing other breeding projects where I'm going to be bringing more than just the Champelli back. I am also planning on bringing the Champelli back. So I've got like, you know, 10, 15 new basically genetic crosses that I've done that have kind of just gotten ready to set up a solid menu that's proprietary. I don't want to be just a one-trick pony. So what I'm looking to do is bring unique, proprietary, different things to the table, you know what I mean? And it's like I'm not prepared to just settle for anything. I needed to fulfill what my vision for the brand is. And until I can do that, I'm just going to stay in the trenches and just build my equity on the brand. And it also comes back, I'm inspired by, say, like Rockefeller or Jay-Z, Biggs, Dame Dash. Like, you know, they waited until they could command their own, you know, the deal that that was right for them.
I'm going to do this for one of my best friends in the world right now who's in the chat room. Hey, Mees, shout out to Champelli 415. You know, people like Snoop, Mac Dre, Beanie Sigel, Memphis Bleak, they was rapping about the Champelli, late 90s, early 2000s. You know what I mean?
Paper cuts.
We were there. This is also produced by Rick Rock from the Bay Area. Rick Rock, beats, yeah, fella.
Yo, I don't do much. You know Mac, Champelli, purple, haying it up. Front row, A, laying it up.
Whoa. Where's that part at? Where's that?
Champelli, purple, haying it up. Front row, Champelli, purple, haying it up.
Just briefly talk about this prisoner that's getting out, the oldest weed prisoner, and just your story in that.
Respect to Richard DeLisi, who's like one of the longest serving cannabis prisoners.
A Polk County man serving life for a non-violent marijuana offense will soon be set free. Richard DeLisi's sentence is one of the longest ever handed down for a non-violent crime involving marijuana.
DeLisi and his brother Richard were sentenced to 90 years. Both were convicted of non-violent drug trafficking charges. They had planned to fly a plane loaded with marijuana into Polk County.
It was extremely important for us to bring light to this case because it is such a severe injustice.
DeLisi, a father to 2 grown children and grandfather to several grandkids, all of whom he has yet to meet.
His son has been a friend throughout the years, and somebody that I met when I went to Europe. We've been friends ever since there, and I've always been, his friend. His dad had always been in prison since then, and we've always kind of just plotted on a way like, man, how are we going to get your pops out? And it's always been a thing that's been, close to my heart and really just affected me, thinking about somebody being locked up for all these years for a plant, and just all the prisoners that are in that situation, and it really pains me because I know what it's like to be, locked up. Even if it was just 6 months, felt like forever. I basically had seen the work that the Last Prisoner Project was doing. And I also saw that Steve D'Angelo was involved, the founder and owner of Harborside here in the Bay Area. And he's somebody that's a Bay Area guy that's been in it for years. And, he's come a long way and been through his own rocky road and everything. So much respect to him. But I ended up reaching out to him on Instagram and basically bringing it to his attention. He basically his team, and he just basically alley-ooped it over to the Last Prisoner Project. And they basically put a couple heavy hitter lawyers on it.
Pro bono too.
Pro bono, man. Much love to those people.
The Last Prisoner Project, one of my favorite activist advocacy groups in the world. Nothing but respect.
What's going on? This is a nice deal right here. All right,
Here with Richard, free Richard DeLisi over here. It's an amazing day. Super blessings.
FreeDeLisi.com.
FreeDeLisi.com. Make sure you guys support. One love. Champelli. Woo! As far as fundraisers to basically be able to give back to, because he's coming out to essentially nothing, you know what I mean? And Richard DeLisi's daughter is actually in a horrible car accident, so she's immobilized, you know what I mean? And then his brother is super old, so it's family after a prison, sentence that long, it tears apart a family, you know what I mean? And I'm hoping some big players and businesses will step up.
Respect, man. And as they say, jail the feds, free the heads.
There it is, my brothers. That's what's up, man.
Thanks for hanging out with us, man. I mean, every conversation I have with you, just my mind gets blown.
Yeah,
and
seriously,
I feel like
man.
I'm at the altar of Champelli.
Walking history as you keep making it. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, man. Well, and as I was
we're honored to have you on here, seriously.
Man, well, likewise, it's an honor to be on your guys' on show, and I'm looking forward for all the great stuff to come. I'm basically on the shoulder of giants, essentially, of all these people before us that have paved the way in the cannabis industry for me to even be doing what I'm doing. And I believe everybody that has contact with the plant has a hand in the culture and curating it and basically stirring it and creating the culture and community that we want it to be and see. So, it takes work, you know what I mean? And just, some attention and some love. So,
speaking of attention, where can we follow you? Can you plug your shit for a sec?
Yeah. Well, I've got Champelli 415 is my Instagram, at Champelli 415. That's the main thing. And from there, I've got a clothing site that's up and other stuff.
Thank you so much, dude.
Man,
super nice hanging out.
Thank you so much for having me on your guys' show, man. I appreciate you so much. Hope to get out to New York real soon. Much respect. Thank you, Jordan, for plugging it in and everything, man. And,
we'll see you real soon on here. This is Cash Only. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Zach.
Champelli, Jordan, Zach.
Champelli, Cash Only.
We'll see you real soon.
Right on, you guys. Much love.
And when we started to get on to Cypress Hill, we met Pac through that. I mean, he used to come see us when we played in the Bay a lot. He came to the hotel room and he brought a fat ounce of some Champelli.